calling the Wednesday, March 12th, 2025 Economic Development Commission meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. Tonight's meeting is being conducted both in person and online. Members of the public may attend in person, or the public may also watch this meeting online at burnsvillemn.gov/meetings, or view us on Comcast Channel 16 or 859. The public can also join us on Zoom by going to zoom.us/join. More information is available on our meetings webpage and in the agenda. Now on to the agenda. The next item is to adopt the agenda. Do any members of the commission have any changes to the agenda? And staff, any changes?
No changes from staff.
All right, can I get a motion to adopt the agenda, please?
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion carried. Next, we will approve the November 13th, 2024 Economic Development Commission meeting minutes. Are there any changes to those minutes? Staff?
No changes.
All right, can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion carried. Next, we will move on to a update on open to business. That is going to be presented by Natalie Mulso from MCCD Open to Business.
Good evening. Thank you all for having me here. My name is Natalie Mulso, and I am a small business advisor and a loan officer with MCCD's Open to Business program. And MCCD is an economic development nonprofit organization that has served the Twin Cities and the surrounding region for 35 years last year. And Open to Business has been a program of MCCD since about 2009. The program itself is a partnership between MCCD and the cities and the counties that participate in the program, like the city of Burnsville and Dakota County, and most of the other counties in the metro region as well. So the program itself provides free business advising to entrepreneurs and small business owners that are looking to get established and to grow their businesses throughout this region. We also provide access to capital in the form of direct lending that we provide through our own revolving loan fund, and also access to grant programs if they become available, and facilitating facilitating loans through more kind of traditional sources like traditional lenders or banks. So today I'm going to present some outcomes from 2024 for Dakota County and for the city of Burnsville. We will also take a look at some client highlights from 2024, and then we will look ahead to see what is in the offing for 2025. So last year throughout Dakota County, we served about 165 businesses, and just over 1,400 direct technical assistance hours were provided to those businesses. So that is the one-on-one small business support, in-person meetings, meetings at the library, meetings at their place of business, Zoom, phone calls, everything like that to support these growing businesses. This was over 200 hours more than last year, which is kind of hard to believe because every year it feels like we couldn't possibly get any busier. But here we are, and I think that is because, you know, it's me, of course, doing primarily the business assistance, but we have other business advisors as well. Like if there are language capabilities that I don't possess, we would bring in those advisors. So it's very much a whole team approach, and we're able to serve a ton of businesses throughout the county. So that's wonderful. It's about a 50-50 split between startups and existing businesses. And in terms of other demographics, about 50% of those businesses served were women-owned, 54% were BIPOC-owned, so that would be Black, Indigenous, or people of color owned, and then about 47% were low-wealth owned. In terms of how people arrive to the Open to Business program, we get a lot of referrals from banks and partners and just word of mouth throughout the community. Also the web and other sources, about 18%, and then 18% from the cities directly or from the CDA. And I do have a suspicion that when people check off web or internet, maybe they found us on the city's website or the CDA's website. So that's probably kind of a mix between the two. So looking at Burnsville specifically, for one-on-one business advising, we served 34 businesses here in the city of Burnsville and provided over 230 direct technical assistance hours. About 47% of the businesses served were startups, 53% were existing businesses, 21 were BIPOC owned, 19 were low wealth owned, 16 were women owned. And in terms of sources for these referrals, again, lots of word of mouth referrals, the web as well, and then from the municipality. And then just for a little bit more color, I can share some of the types of businesses that were served. So 30 of the 34 businesses are or will be based in Burnsville, which is a little bit surprising. Like, I work with obviously all the cities in Dakota County, and that's pretty unique to Burnsville, I would say, that just people want to they live here, but they also want to create their businesses here. And then a very wide swath in terms of different industries represented, an appliance store, cosmetic studio, bakery, transportation business, logistics business, a brewery, 3 different beauty businesses, a bar, restaurant, med spa, health clinic, grocery store, so all across the board. And then the remaining businesses were owned by Burnsville residents, but then they'll be based outside of the city. And then moving on to lending and access to capital. So throughout Dakota County, we approved $223,000 in direct lending from our loan program. That was leveraged by about $720,000 in owner equity and about $97,000 in access to capital from other sources. So that could be bank lending or other traditional financing sources like the SBA, for example. So that means that for every $1 loan from MCCD, 3.7 or $3.70 were leveraged from these other sources. So it's a pretty good ratio. Our average portfolio interest rate right now is 5.4%. So that is much lower than the prime rate today, and certainly much lower than it was, at this point last year. We are very strategic about raising low-cost funds so that we can keep our interest rate as low as possible, and then business owners can keep more of their money in their pockets and in their business, and they're not paying higher interest rates than they need to pay. And our rate in total is capped at 7%, and that includes startup businesses too. So for the city of Burnsville, I've got a couple slides here just highlighting the access to capital specific to Burnsville. We did facilitate one micro grant through a third-party organization, and this was a $2,500 micro grant that went to a Burnsville business, further leveraged by about $2,500 in owner equity that she invested in her business. I started working with this business owner in the fall of last year. She has a natural beauty business, it's home-based, and also online, and the micro grant was for inventory, supplies, branding. She's going to get a new website, and this will really allow her to kind of take her business to the next level. We also approved 2 credit builder loans for a total of $480. And this is a really wonderful product that we've had for a number of years, and it's really for folks that are looking to either establish credit or rebuild their credit. And we work with a partner agency that provides free credit counseling to these individuals. We originate the loans and process them and do all of the back and forth with the borrower. And it's set monthly payments, and it can really help them establish themselves or rebuild if they are working on that. And then we had one business loan. This was a mobile food business. And it is a mobile business, but they're very active here in Burnsville, and you probably did see them at the farmers market if you ever popped by the Burnsville Farmers Market or different community events in the area. They're also active in Lakeville and Rosemont. But this was a $33,000 small business loan. The owner invested $5,000. I started working with them in 2023, where they just had a food cart, and expanded in 2024 with a food trailer with help from MCCD for this loan. And here we have a client testimonial. They say, "I am so very thankful for your help and support. The amount of gratitude I have for you and your team has filled my heart with so much joy and appreciation. Thank you so much for everything, and I'm so happy that I came across your program." This was a Burnsville business owner. And now I'm going to just summarize some outreach and just different kind of program updates from 2024. We rolled out a new online loan application system. So we were doing paper applications prior to this point, if you can believe that. So now here we are in 2024 and 2025 with a digital application, and it's streamlining the process for us and also for our clients. So we're very excited about that. I was prioritizing banker networking and outreach here locally, and I'll continue to do that in 2025. We rolled out a business planning workshop at our office in Minneapolis in 2024. We also continued our partnership with the University of Minnesota's Law School. They provide free 30-minute advice sessions for entrepreneurs and business owners to get free legal advice. And this is open to anyone, but we have a really nice partnership with them, so we get to send a lot of referrals their way. They also do Q&A webinars for our clients too that we arrange. We have one coming up April 8th. This is a online webinar, and you can submit your questions in advance, and then they will answer any small business law questions that you might have. We also offer accounting and bookkeeping assistance up to 10 hours for free for any of our clients or anyone that's working with an open to business advisor. This is free bookkeeping assistance. They can help them get caught up. Anything that they might need, just a tutorial on how to use QuickBooks or how to get set up or anything like that. So we do provide that for everyone that we work with. We have a business resource newsletter that we send out each month. This is an amalgamation of different resources and trainings that we're hosting, but also other economic development partners or anything that we hear of, grant opportunities, trainings, like I said, other news from the state, things like that. Every client is automatically enrolled in the newsletter unless they opt out, and it's just a really nice, easy way for us to get all that information out to people in a reliable way. We also celebrated our 35th anniversary last year, which was big news for us, and we updated our name actually. So we used to be the Metropolitan Consortium of Community Developers, and we are now the Minnesota Consortium of Community Developers. And the name change is really just to capture the work that we were already doing at the state level, particularly on the policy and advocacy side of the work that we do, since we work so closely with lawmakers and the policies that we work on affect the entire state. All right, so looking ahead, for 2025, our lending goal organization-wide is $3.5 million. We're keeping our interest rates capped at 7%. Again, that includes for startup lending. Really, I'm focusing on, client work and being as accessible as I can be to my clients. We're hosting bi-monthly lending info sessions at our offices in Minneapolis, and then also available over Zoom. We started that in February, and we're doing, again, twice a month. We've had really strong attendance so far, so that's very exciting. We're going to keep doing it all year. And hopefully it's just another way to get clients plugged into our loan products and to understand what we offer and the steps it would take to apply. We did also just hire a senior loan officer, so that's an addition to the team. And wanted to highlight again our language capabilities. So we have advisors that speak English, Spanish, Hmong, and Somali. And with that, I will say thank you again, and would be very happy to answer any questions you might have about the program.
questions from commission? All right, thanks Natalie, that was a great update.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are going to be moving to a review of the 2025 EDC work plan with Beth Weber, our economic development specialist.
Good evening, commissioners. Great update from Natalie. So in thinking about the work plan for 2025, I thought it would be helpful to kind of recap a little bit of what you all participated in 2024. So there were 16 ribbon cutting celebrations that were coordinated in partnership with the Burnsville Chamber of Commerce. Also in partnership with the Burnsville Chamber, 17 Grow Minnesota visits were completed. So we're really proud of that initiative as well. As Natalie mentioned, 34 Burnsville businesses were served by Open to Business. The housing and commercial property inventory was completed, and if you'll remember from the update at our last meeting, that was kind of the data-driven document that helped support the economic development strategic framework, and then certainly continuing the design work of that. So as we think about 2025, these are the initiatives that staff has kind of come up with that make the most sense for you all to focus on this year. Ongoing updates from Open to Business, continued invites for the ribbon cuttings that we have here in Burnsville, training opportunities as they become available. Historically, we've had different land use training that we've done in partnership with other commissions. And as we see those or as they become available, we would certainly consider that for the EDC as well. And then you'll see that the Economic Development Strategic Framework, the timeline is kind of second and third quarter and then ongoing once that's finalized. And I'll go into a little more detail on that timeline a little bit later. And then we would continue to ask your opinion or your feedback on financing applications as it relates to city funding. So if there were a project or a developer that were to come in and request some sort of assistance from the city, that's something that we would bring before you for your feedback. The Grow Minnesota partnership is going to continue for 2025, and we certainly value that with the Burnsville Chamber. And then two new things, which are kind of exciting. Many of you were involved in the development of our housing programs, our home loan programs that we currently have. And the city of Burnsville will be receiving LAHA funding, Local Affordable Housing Aid, which is a state program designed to support the development and preservation of affordable housing within the metro area. And so it's funded through dedicated sales and use tax, and City Council has directed staff to investigate options for Burnsville. We'll be bringing our initial set of ideas to a City Council work session, likely in May, and then following that work session, we would bring that before you for your feedback as well. And then finally, community visioning. So this is something that will take certainly more than just 2025, but December of last year, City Council created a new community vision initiative to engage and empower the community to have a voice in how they want their community to look in the future. Asking boldly, how do you want your city to look and feel in the next 10 years? So this process will establish comprehensive data and inform a strategic vision for the future. And then recommendations are expected to be incorporated into the city's strategic planning initiatives, and then ultimately the 2025 comprehensive plan, or 2050, comprehensive plan update. And so as we kind of refine what the community visioning process will look like, we do expect heavy involvement, not only from the EDC, but from all of our commissions and community partners. And so that is our draft 2025 work plan for the commission. Certainly stand for any questions, comments, feedback.
I have a question.
Yes.
So we've completed the data about the city housing the report there.
Yep.
Do you have a similar type of report or data process for commercial space and what the balance is and what the demands are, what are most in demand?
We do, yes. So at our last meeting, that was part of the data that we provided. And it's my goal this week to get that full report that our consultant did on our website. And so once that's on there, I'm happy to send out a link for all of you to dive into that 180 so pages of.
Well, I just
Light
finished the
Burnsville
housing
info.
one, so I have a little reading available.
Gotcha, perfect. I will make sure to route that once we have that on the website.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions, comments, feedback? Okay, well, with that, then, Commissioner Brahms, I will work with you, to coordinate, your attendance at an upcoming city council meeting, to just kind of do a similar presentation of what you all accomplished in 2024 and what you've identified as your work plan for 2025. Okay. And we'll move on to updates.
The update that we have is that our next meeting is scheduled for May 14th. Did you have any other updates, Beth?
I did, yes. So I had mentioned the Economic Development Strategic Framework. Right now, we have that penciled in to bring forward to a council work session on April 15th. And then we would anticipate our next kind of iteration of that to you all would be at your May meeting with potential council approval sometime in June. We don't have that meeting finalized yet. So at your next meeting, it will not be a final draft. We would still be open to questions, comments, feedback following the council work session. But that's kind of where we're at with that. And then, as mentioned, our next meeting is the May meeting. And I'm always available for questions, comments, concerns via email and phone. But that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you, Beth.
Yes.
All right, then I would like to request a motion to adjourn our March 12th EDC meeting.
I will make a motion for adjournment.
All right, motion carried.